Good evening, and welcome to The Haunting of Cliffside Manor, broadcasting to you from LWLP Studios in St. John's, Newfoundland. Tonight's program is brought to you by Ladies Who Lunch Productions and features Philip Goodridge, Taya Morash, Lynn Panting, and Mark White, with sound effects by Kevin Woolridge and music by Kyle McDavid. And now, dear listeners, prepare yourselves for The Haunting of Cliffside Manor.
My name is Lynn Panting, and I am one of the founding members of Ladies Who Lunch.
My name is Mark White, and I'm a performer with Ladies Who Lunch Productions, I guess one of the four founders of the collective.
My name is Taya Morash, and I am one of the co-founders of Ladies Who Lunch Productions back in the early days of 2011 when we did our first show at the Rabbittown Theatre, and I have been performing as a lady ever since.
I'm Philip Goodridge, and I too am one of the founding members of Ladies Who Lunch. Myself and Taya and Mark and Lynn would enjoy fine lunch at the Ship Pub for quite some time. We refer to ourselves as the Ladies Who Lunch.
And this company kind of came out of a lot of those conversations and some complaints that we weren't getting cast a whole lot. We formed a company so that we could spend time together and perform and kind of stretch our creative imaginations and skills.
I have always been an avid fan of radio drama, horror specifically, horror in general. And I was like, hey guys, I had this idea for if we do radio plays on stage, we wouldn't have to memorize our lines. I think it would be really cool. No one's really doing that right now. And I wrote up 3 tales, the original 3 tales, and everyone, we sort of piled on in together and created what we have now.
Thrills!
I know you're there. I know you're there in the shadows.
Chills!
You belong to us now.
Unspeakable horrors!
What have you done? You're a monster.
Since 2011, Ladies Who Lunch Productions has been terrifying live audiences with an array of original spine-tingling radio dramas, 12 horrifying tales, 87 different characters, and 24 incredibly droll commercials. These spooky tales will keep you on the edge of your seat with murder, evil spirits, and creatures from the beyond. It's always the golden age of radio with Ladies Who Lunch Productions. Visit ladieswholuncproductions.com.
I think the Three Tales of Terror event, I think there's a number of things that make it appealing. Number one, you get to see 3 plays in one night. It's also 3 plays that are based in a horror genre or some kind of horror world, which nobody does in the city. The fact that it's branded as, and it is, radio drama with live Foley, live music, it's something that people don't get to see.
I think it's got a little bit of everything, and it appeals to different. Like some people love horror, like myself, so that's the kind of thing they're into. And of course, some people like that old-timey vibe, the 30s, 40s-ish. It's anachronistic. We don't ever set it at the exact time, but like that sort of nostalgic feel. And there's some campiness to it, but there's always that underlying fear that it really exists in pretty much all of them, even like the sillier ones, and there's a few. There's still those moments of suspense.
First of all, they're super fun. They're funny. Phil writes really funny little shows, and everyone loves to go to the theater and laugh. But layered in amongst that humor is a real serious, spooky quality that all of them have, to greater or lesser extents. But the spook is always in there, and we try to do them around Halloween, so everyone's always looking for a scare around Halloween.
We have been friends for such a long time, and I think that our natural chemistry is very apparent to the audience. We have genuine love for one another. We really love each other. We have genuine warmth, and I think that dynamic really comes through. And to the other people who have come in and joined us now, Kevin and Kyle have done more work with us than anyone else at this point, and you can see that camaraderie and that dynamic. And I think you can see the love, and like families are able to tease one another. And I think you can see that on stage. And I just think people can see the joy. And people can see the fun, and also that we really take it seriously. We have a great love for the project, and treat it very seriously, and really put our hearts and souls into the work.
And also, my favorite thing, I always say this about the radio plays, is that we don't have to worry about our special effects budget. We can just say, I am on a spaceship, and then whoever's out in the audience, who is part of the process. Like, the spaceship is then in their head. We give them just enough of our character and our scenario for them to create what's happening, which I think is incredible. It's like we have $1 billion budget and we can go anywhere and do anything. And as a writer, it's really freeing to not have to worry about how am I gonna get a whale on set? I just say, there's a whale here! Done.
I think people really like that, and people really like the appeal of like old-timey radio, but they also like to go into a live theater setting. So combining that radio drama with a live theater experience, I think appeals to a lot of people, and it's scary.
You can see the sound effects happening right in front of your eyes, and the live music and all that stuff. And plus, our physicality when we make our different characters and stuff is, I find it really interesting to watch the rest of the gang. Because like if I have a page where I'm not doing anything, I'm like, Mark is really going to town. It's great.
People are so engaged with what the four actors are doing on stage, plus the Foley and the music, that I think that the whole grouping of everything together as a whole is really what draws people in. It's the people on the stage, the stories that are being told, and the way that they're being told that are bringing people a unique experience.
We have these rehearsals, we just laugh to kill ourselves, and I think that all translates to the audience.
Oh, there's a razor blade in that! Professionally. That's why he's so fascinated by fur.
Oh yeah, think about fur. Think about the so maybe you should do your fur collar. Oh. Look at that soft, luxurious fur.
You spent all night writing. Good time. Good time. Detective Steve.
That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah, you did it. I gotta do Gene. Gene. Oh. Yeah.
Gene.
Gene! Gene!
My involvement with Ladies Who Lunch Productions goes back to 2011, doing Three Tales of Terror at the Rabbitown Theater. I don't remember the specifics of how I got roped into it, because I had never done Foley work before, but here we are 9 years later.
It was because we knew you and you were our friend and we wanted you to be involved.
Oh, that's good.
I am the composer for Ladies Who Lunch Productions, and I've been working with them for the past year. I started with last year's Three Tales of Terror series, and this year we're back in action.
Yeah, so the first thing I do is look for every sound that the writer, yourself, has notated specifically that you want to see in there. And then, especially when I'm listening to a read-through, I'm looking for other opportunities or other places that I think it makes sense for a sound. And then I'll bring that up in, say, in the reading or after the rehearsal. And usually you're in agreement or you notice the same thing. And then I start automatically thinking about how are these sounds going to be made? What's going to be the problematic stuff that I've never made a sound of before, or I have no idea how to do it. What kind of stuff is really easy and that I know I have the equipment to do it right away?
Well, when Phil sends a brand spanking new script, usually I'll read through it to obviously get the gist of the story first. And then I sort of go through and pinpoint spots that music would serve to enhance the drama in that particular scene. And then I just get to playing on the piano, coming up with some themes. I'll also compose on the computer as well. But I really love composing for this genre, horror especially, because it's kind of opens up the whole palette of, I guess, the sonic palette that you can use. You can throw out all the rules sometimes with horror, because sometimes the uglier the sound, the better.
Mr. Creaky. Mr. Creaky is what's called like a creak box. It's essentially a wooden frame with a dowel through it, and there's tension on the dowel with a rope. And as the dowel turns, because of the tension, it squeaks against the wooden frame, creating a kind of creaking sound. It's an old school Foley prop that I didn't know existed until a couple of productions back when I was trying to figure out how to make that sound. And then I saw it online somewhere, and I was like, oh, I could build one of those. And so I did. And it's a really fun prop to use.
Often I'll come up with a title before I even come up with the music, which is the reverse of what I imagine most people normally do. But something about titling the piece gives me the inspiration to continue the work.
Well, it's different. It's not like going to see a usual play. It's on stage live radio with everything that comes with it. We've kind of forgotten about radio drama. I mean, it still happens. I know it still happens. But I think we've kind of forgotten about it. And so getting a chance to peek behind the curtain is really, really fascinating. It's like watching a behind the scenes on a movie, That's a really interesting thing to watch that process. And you get to see it with Three Tales of Terror live right in front of you.
We're so accustomed to spectacle and amazing special effects in theater and movies and things that there's something really charming and appealing about stripping it all the way down to the essentials. It's storytelling with the Foley sound effects and music, and it's very, there's something charming and something about it that I feel like we've lost sight of in society today, to appreciate the simplicity of that.
Open up, it's me.
Come in.
Shut the door, quick.
What did you find out?
All sorts of things.
Something that started out as like an idea and kind of fun and maybe a little bit of an inside joke has really captured people's imaginations, and seeing the crowds get bigger and bigger. And myself and Mark were at a play, and we got recognized and asked for our autographs. We actually asked if we were a couple in real life because they wanted it to be true. It is not true, but it was so fun to see people connecting with the material and like really having fun with it, and people have made it a part of their lives and it's become a tradition to them. So when I think about the things that are the tradition to me, like the reading of A Christmas Carol or divas, like these are things in our St. John's community that, you go and you are part of year after year. So to be one of those institutions is really wonderful.
I cannot wait for people to hear this. Even people who have seen us do it live, I can't wait for them to be able to own it for their very selves.
I'm really excited. I'm really nervous.
I am so excited about the upcoming audio release of The Haunting of Cliffside Manor.
The stars aligned. Ian Foster recorded us, and Brian Kenny is mixing it all down and producing it.
I'm so excited. I'm a total audiophile, and my whole life I grew up with books on tape. I listen to one every single night. Agatha Christie is like a standard in my house, even since I was a little kid. So to imagine myself as one of those characters is really quite thrilling, and in some ways more thrilling than being in a film or being in a theater production, just because I have such love of radio plays.
Oh, I'm really excited. Yeah, because it's documented. It's an actual recording that you could go back and listen to. I could listen to it in my bathtub if I want to. Maybe I will.
When we went into the studio, I was terrified because I am out there. So just to rely on the voice and the sounds that we're making, I was really nervous, but the more that we got into it, I got really, really, really excited. And the more that we kind of heard back, I got really, really excited. And the more that we kind of hear from people that are working on it now in like post-production, it's like, I'm really excited. And I hope everyone receives it as warmly and as well as we first did in 2011, and how I'm sure we're going to receive it when we actually hear that finished product.
It's gonna be so good, and it was so fun to record, and it's really exciting to think that we've been doing these shows now for almost 10 years, and this is the first time that we will have kind of a professionally recorded and produced actual radio drama that you can listen to the same way you would listen to, an old-timey radio drama outside of that kind of live theater setting. So I think it's going to be great, and it's going to be really wonderful to be able to share the show with people that wouldn't otherwise be able to make it down to the live performance. So I can't wait.
And I can't wait to listen to it without having the visual, because it'll give me an opportunity, especially to really listen to those sounds that I'm making and go, oh yeah, that does work. Okay, great.
I think everyone is going to be really excited to have something they can curl up on the couch with their headphones, with a cup of tea or a glass of wine, and listen to some old-fashioned radio horror.
I just hope we're doing this for like the next 20 years.
Awesome.
So get writing, Phil.
I'll get to work.